is here on the Zooms. I don't know which directions you are. Maurissa, Tancharoen, and Jed Whedon, obviously, co-creators of Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and the writers of this episode. Oh no, that's me. And Brett Dalton, Agent Ward, joining us again because this is a huge episode for you, as was last week's, but this week's massive. And just to let people know that if you haven't seen this episode yet, we're probably going to spoil what the ending is before we get to the end. So, you know. Also, Zachary But Abel is here.
I'm on the chat. I'm looking
He's on
down,
the chat.
on the
He's
chat.
not on his Twitter or TikTok.
Yes.
Zach's a TikTok star now. In case you didn't realize, he is a TikTok star.
That is?
Zach.
No, Zach
I was
is.
like, I know Zach
is a TikTok star.
Yes,
Of course
you
it is.
are.
Oh my gosh, Brett, we spoke about this last time. You being a TikTok star. You didn't do that yet, huh?
No, I feel like the first couple of comments were, I think he's too old for TikTok. And so I thought I should probably listen.
You were like,
right. Can I unsubscribe? How do I delete a post? Yeah, didn't
No,
work.
Zach, you're putting up some really funny content. I love it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm having a good time over there.
Yes, you are.
But let's focus on the chat and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. here.
Talk about
Yeah.
sure. I don't know. You got that lamp. The
You
lamp
got the
with
lamp,
the
the
leopard
hair.
I
print.
know, right?
You looks like you need a pipe.
I need a pipe. It'll be like
It
my
does look
version of
good.
Between Two
You
Ferns.
just need some like old school R&B playing in the background.
Yeah,
Yeah.
might be.
Yes.
It'll
Really
be
working it out.
my parents' basement podcast.
Hey, you watch yourself. There's only one podcast around here. Let's press play because otherwise I feel like we could chat forever. Jed, we were talking about this just before. I mess up every week, so no chat. But let's go from, what did we say? The flip.
The flip.
The beginning of the flip.
Okay.
Yeah.
The beginning of the flip.
Making
Okay,
it
ready?
And
Okay.
Blue Oyster
I
called
know.
that already hit play. Fear the
It makes
Reaper.
me nervous every
Don't fear the
time.
Reaper.
well.
Okay.
Are we
No.
doing-
Are we teed up?
Yeah, you're gonna do a countdown because Brett's
Yeah.
all lost. He's already halfway through the.
Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1, play.
Now should we?
Yes. Yeah, maybe down a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
Maybe
the
we
best
should
one
all
yet,
go
by the way.
that. Wasn't it the best one
Yeah,
yet?
that was the
Oh
best one
no.
yet.
It was because we have
Started
two
the
musical
show with more
genius
cowbell. I mean,
winners.
from here on out, you
I
know.
was
it's-
so excited when we actually got clearance for this song. I didn't
Yeah,
think
how'd you
that
do
was
that?
Chris Jeremy.
Yeah, Chris Sherman. We wanted it to seem like a movie, so like we hadn't done a ton of needle. I don't know if we'd ever done a needle drop.
I think this was our first needle drop at this point.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well,
So we just wanted that feeling of like you're going in and it's gonna be it's the beginning of a movie because this was as close as we would ever come.
What is a needle drop?
A song.
an actual song as opposed to Bear scoring the show.
I'm glad you asked, Elizabeth, because I had the same question, but I was just going to
Like,
needle drop.
Is
Needle drop,
this a
yeah.
band? I
Of
don't
course.
know. Like, was this an album?
clearance.
I didn't see. Got it. And
Keep
do
in
you,
mind
presumably that's like all in the budget, right? That then you
Yeah.
need to carve out a part
Yes.
of the budget.
And the bigger the song, the more money.
The
you
harder it is, the more money it
need.
takes.
So this wasn't cheap, but
Cheap.
Yeah.
And did you have to pass that through layers of Disney and Marvel and ABC and all those things aside from how much it was going to be? Does that-
I mean I pretty much everything when it comes to spending more money needs to go up the chain of
Sure.
hierarchy and protocol.
But within our budget, we're allowed
Yeah.
to do what we want. And
So
There's that.
I'm glad I watched the recap because I'd be like, why do they not like May again?
Yeah.
yes, I know. So this was, did you, obviously huge misdirect thinking that it was May that was undercover. Like, what were those conversations in the room? Did you always know that it was going to be Ward? Did you always know it was going to be May with the misdirect?
Well,
I'm curious too.
Yeah, right? It's
we
funny.
knew it would be Ward early on. In initial discussions, there was talk of it being Simmons. very early before we even had finished the pilot or
The
anything.
one
Like
you
Are
that.
you
leave-
just saying this because she's hosting this
No,
particular?
no.
No,
Because it would, you know,
actually-
she's so sweet, and you'd be like, oh my God, it would be mind blowing, but she's too sweet. And we
It's
figured,
hard to see this, and
I know,
I'm
I know.
also just so like
just like
fascinated with
this is good. This is wow. This is well written. Just
seeing the old sets too, because we
Distracted
spent
by the
some of
ratings.
our later seasons on a different,
I
Yeah.
you know,
know.
just seeing, yeah. Well, although the cargoes. Anyway,
Everyone's so different.
I know.
man.
so yeah, there was a lot. The whole
Yeah, sorry.
concept was the thing that was interesting about the app is that the one thing we couldn't say until this episode was Hydra, and we also we technically at the end of the last episode said that he was an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. That was a big deal that we got to do that before Captain America came out.
But we really were chomping at the bit to finally get to this episode as far as timing and knowing that once Winter Soldier was out in the world, that then this would turn the mythology that we had established to date on its head, and then we can
Right.
really fly from there. But yeah, I would say this was a turning point in our whole series. Turn.
Turn. Yeah, because we had Jeff Loeb on last week, and he was talking about how and Paul Z, and obviously 116 was the week before Captain America came out, and then this was the week after Captain America came out. How much pressure was on? I mean, I guess you, Brett, and Mo and Jed for writing it, but I guess first of all, Mo and Jed, how much pressure was on you to land this episode after so much?
We felt
on it?
like we had really one chance. Everybody's going to see that movie, and we felt like we had one chance to have them go, oh
Whoa.
shit, like, and see it ripple.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that you can't. Yes, it was going to make our show interesting no matter what, but the thing that we have, the advantage we have in long form storytelling, is to have it actually be personal, and that was the reason. That was the reason for the turn, is that, you know, and the title refers to Hydra, Garrett, Lord.
Oh, that's
I
fun.
didn't know
Yeah.
that.
But just, you know, we felt like we had that one chance to make it hurt and like make you have to see what happens next. So that was sort of the focus, you know.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
then
It would be a huge disservice had we not addressed it immediately after that reveal in the giant movie. But also just
Yeah.
to take what they had established in Winter Soldier and then see it on more of a intimate, personal level, and to
Yeah.
know Ward from episode 1 to this point, and having the timing of that coincide with him starting to his walls coming down, seeing him be vulnerable with Sky, and then
Mhm.
them having that kiss and then having the slap in the face at the end of his reveal. I think we
I'm
knew it would be impactful for the people who had watched the show to that point.
And it's
Yeah.
also the thing that we never had was the money that they had, but what we had is time. And so you had spent way more. They can do the same thing in a movie of like, my friend is a traitor, but it's not the same when you've spent now 16 hours, you know, watching this person.
And folks were mad at us.
And
They
they're
They're
still
still
mad
very
at us,
mad.
yeah.
Like the
Oh,
hashtag
yeah.
Sky Wars.
You guys remember that Twitter campaign thing that we did? I was talking to, I forgot who was helping me with it. But we did a whole thing where when this episode came out, I changed the heading of my Twitter thing to a Hydra symbol.
Oh,
And I tweeted one tweet out, and then it went dark. But not before I got the screen grabs of like what people were saying, and people were going nuts about this particular one.
Yeah,
It
was
was
that hard? That was
people watching
hard,
it.
right, Brett? Like, I remember that being a thing at the time that was
it's hard for you guys. It was
Yeah.
hard for you guys. Like when we finally sat you all in a trailer to tell them and what was happening, and we showed them that final.
But you
red
weren't there,
pen.
right, though? Because I remember we had to do it separately with you,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Yes, I did it separately, but you
We have
weren't
that
in my
picture.
trailer. So yeah. Yeah, so you told all the cast. I don't know where I was that day, but I wasn't on set. I feel like you guys were all on location maybe, but you were in my trailer because it was the cleanest. I just want to let you know. So that's why you all went in there.
I think I mean, had you just you'd been sent on a different
Yeah,
story.
story-wise,
right?
she was at the hub.
Oh,
was
true.
not
I
around.
was
So-
away, yeah.
But the first
And then-
we had to talk with Brett, which was a hard conversation because the thing that
Yeah.
the other thing that's hard about it as a just no matter as a fan or as a actor, as a writer, is you're designing this character to be loved. You want to be real, and you want it to feel and people to connect to it. That's the whole goal as an actor and as a writer. And
Oh, I love this bit. I forgot about this bit. Remember how it was like, let's just make it a moment that feels like a video game, but the highest stakes ever.
right.
I'm getting questions in from the chat, sort of talking about the decision process of making Brett the H word and how you had to sort of navigate through the season. Can you guys talk about sort of when that seed was planted, like when you decided that there was going to be a traitor and that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. like wasn't this like just pristine agency, that there were embedded, Hydra agents?
Well, up until that point, we couldn't even hint at it. Like, no, we couldn't allude to a mole or anything duplicitous at all within the organization or even amongst, other S.H.I.E.L.D. entities at large or anti-S.H.I.E.L.D. entities at large. I don't think we had even mentioned Hydra to that.
We were not allowed to mention Hydra, and we were not allowed to have anyone within S.H.I.E.L.D. act badly at all. And so
Wow.
And in knowing the reason why and knowing what was going to be released in the MCU, we knew we had to get on. We knew we had to.
there's also the first part, which is that we're like had just created the series. We'd just written the pilot, and they'd been like, "Here we go, we're gonna do this." And they're like, "Great, just a thing you should know."
S.H.I.E.L.D. falls apart.
There's absolutely no S.H.I.E.L.D. after at this date. Okay, great.
We're like, making your show.
You can call it Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but you do know
there will not be a
true.
S.H.I.E.L.D. in the MCU. Okay, see you later. Good luck.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it became about how to navigate that. You can always have fun with them going Ghost Protocol or which we did a lot of, but it was really about how do you make that meaningful and impactful, and so early we knew we were going to have to have
Choose
one
someone.
among us turn, but it seemed like because of the growing connection between Skye, who's the first face you see on the show,
Well, Ward was the
and
most.
Ward's this, the first action sequence, they're like the two, they're these two, they're like I don't know, it just felt right.
But we, just in establishing Ward as such a dedicated, high level agent, so dedicated to the organization.
Right.
It made sense that
this was cool.
This part is cool.
Oh, this was the
Do you remember
this
how-
must have felt, yeah.
This gave me goosebumps.
I think that was a fun moment for everyone across the board.
That was the best
Everyone.
Twitter. I think that was the best Twitter moment.
Yeah.
Followed by,
Yeah,
or the second best, I would say. Followed by the end of the episode.
I don't know. Did we answer I don't know if we even answered the question
Maybe.
that asked.
How early on did you guys make that sort of like the room when you were having that discussion and you chose Wards? Was that
It was early in the process. It wasn't, we had, I don't know if we were shooting by the time we'd made that decision, but it was after the pilot, I guess I should say, because we got the room together after the pilot and everything. But
And did you have any
That's-
idea, Brett? Did you?
No, but what I was going to say is that's really interesting because I felt like the turn actually aligned pretty well. I mean, clearly you guys are not telling me that information until I need to know it.
Mhm.
So I'm having my own decisions and discussions in my head about, I'm making these decisions along the way. There's so much that is alluded to, but I was building a different backstory. His past, his relationship with his family, the stuff that happens at the well, all of that. So I'm piecing together all of the little breadcrumbs along the way, but I had a different story. And then when you guys told me that thing, I had to sort of rewrite that story because I was playing that. But strangely, all of those breadcrumbs still like came together to make that cake. It was like, oh, that still makes sense.
Right.
What I was playing and now this new reality, this new information, it actually still makes sense. And now I can fill in way more of the story rather
Yeah.
than troubled past.
Was that hard though? Oh,
What'd
go
you
on.
say?
I thought I was going to be fired. So when you guys said I'm still on the show and I'm opening up a new door for you to play in, I was like running through it. So I don't
You
know
were
if it
great
was.
about it. I mean, it was a
It
shocking
was a
moment. I
shock
remember
for
you
him.
kind of going,
Whoa.
all right.
Hold on, guys.
The whole world just erupted.
The Hydra. See,
It's Ian calling in. He's not forgiven you.
Sorry about that, guy. I don't know how to turn that off on my computer.
There is a way. I forget every time. It's something to do with those lines at the top right.
Yep, you're right.
We're all friends here. Don't worry.
But yeah, I just remember you kind of taking it. You right away went, okay, and you're like,
But it was heartbreaking.
Yeah, it was
for
sort-
him.
yeah,
it's huge.
I remember you being like, you know, it's because you had been writing that backstory and living this person, and it was finding out not just that there was it was like you were finding out there was a traitor amongst us, and it's you. It's just hard, dark. But I remember it was not 2 minutes before you're like, okay, oh, interesting.
Because
Well,
it is
well, there's okay.
But we also shot like that following Wednesday, and you guys told me on a Friday or something. So I was like, I don't have a lot of time to process this. I better find a way.
Well, one thing I'll say about the process of not, because we would hold stuff back, partially because of Marvel protocols, but also because it starts as a percentage, right? And early on, we were like, okay, we don't know who this is going to be, but it's probably going to be Ward. And that percentage keeps shifting. But you know, as we're building it, you never know what's going to come down the pipe from up above and everything. So we were very careful also not to get you guys excited about something that was then not going to happen.
No, there was no world for telling any of you, specifically you, Brett, that it would have been beneficial in any way. We needed you to play who you were, the backstory you were establishing wholeheartedly all the way through, so that it would be all that more painful.
Yeah.
When you turn.
I'm really thankful for that.
Was
I didn't have to play against anything. I was just playing that thing.
And then you still had to play the you know, the wolf, what is it? Wolf and sheep. What's the saying? I'm really bad with idioms because of my immigrant parenting. So like I always forget.
It's like the wolf, because there's a wolf somewhere.
Or the lion bucket, or the
wolf among the sheep.
Hole in the bucket, and there's a wolf on the crock.
But you still had to play that, so that's when the fun came into you and the complexity of, I know who I am. I have to hide from everybody else. But I remember we established a new mantra for you, which was once it was fully out and
Like
he
the
chin down, throw it away. Remember that?
Oh yes.
Cool.
Are you kidding me?
Chin down, throw it away.
And then also I remember
a lot of that came from you, Jed.
The next episode, I remember we were shooting the next episode. Dawn, our script coordinator, you were shooting the next episode and you're like talking to Raina and you're kind of leaning against the wall and you're like, so I jumped out of the plane and da-da-da. And I remember her going like, who is that?
Where did he go?
Oh man.
I miss Dawn.
A little danger.
Oh
Never hurt nobody. Yeah.
I can so imagine her doing that.
Actually,
it was like a different character. Like, how did you know you could do that?
And I feel so incredibly grateful. I think I always will be. I know I've told you guys this before, but the fact that you would trust me with that, because you told me, everybody asked about how much pressure there was. I'm glad you didn't tell me all of that pressure. I mean, that's a crazy amount of pressure, but I still felt that you were trusting me with something big, and this kind of had to work. And this was a big opportunity. And so that's why I was just so thankful with it and felt like I ran with it. It's not like, oh, what do I do with it? It was like, this is important. This is really
and as Lil used to say, it became like our best tool, because it was like our best act out was Ward's here. It was like, it became a thing it made our storytelling so much easier in the following episodes. And then, I mean, it made it super complicated and fun at the end of the season, but in the next seasons, all of a sudden it was like, you know, what do we do? Ward? Yeah, okay, that's great. Ward will walk in and that'll be scary. And then we'll cut to
it's like, Omar coming. Yeah. Ward's here.
This scene was what we pitched in our first ever dinner with Clark.
Wait, what?
The first time we ever sat down with Clark and we were talking about the show, we told him the thing of this conversation.
Can you guys
I
talk
need to
about
turn it
or
on.
like give advice regarding the amount of pressure that you guys were under for that first season, and like the advice that you would give to other people that are facing, you know, what seemingly is like insurmountable, because you guys were under a lot of
Oh,
pressure.
that's a
like
great
the
question.
cast, but specifically you guys, because you created everything. Can you just kind of talk about that? And then also for a lot of the audience is trying to either get into entertainment or they're facing their own sort of obstacles.
So much pressure at the moment on so many
Yeah.
people.
The first season of any show is
This is
always
very hard.
the most taxing and stressful. You're just trying to find your way. I think for us, there was the extra added pressure of the expectations placed upon the show, the long history that had preceded it, the successful movie.
The advertising that
The
was done just
advertising,
before.
right.
Yeah.
Right. But
How
also-
many Avengers? See if you can count the Avengers that will show up in the TV show. Hey guys.
And also just budgetarily knowing that we will not be able to do what they do in the movies that had just, you know, the show had been born out of the movies. But
And also lots of cooks. Like
lots of cooks.
regardless of how amicable it was Marvel's first TV show, their first collaboration with ABC, you know, Joss, us, we had Jeff Bell, and then we have a whole room of writers. That's the hardest thing initially to navigate, is that you're going, okay, we're trying to tell the show. One of the things that we felt about this show, I mean this episode specifically, and sort of the lead up to it, is that it was I think when we shot Sky in the Stomach was like our point where we ditched the mandate to have it sort of all standalone.
And that was freeing, I think. We
Yeah.
we were so happy to finally just really dive into
and go just serialized story. And like we had been building a serialized element, and all these pieces did fit together, but it just didn't feel that way. And it was the first time we did like a legit cliffhanger. And that was sort of us, we kind of shook off we went, okay, we'll just do our thing for a bit. And then this episode was where it really just became the show that everybody in the room was like, okay, let's go. It was like,
But
Yeah.
there's no more, you know.
I do think no matter how, you know, despite all the crazy through the first season and us trying to find our footing as a show and us trying to find our footing as showrunners, this was our first show running experience. But I do think what we and the other writers and all of you, it's just like, I think the strength of our characters and the dynamics and between the characters and those relationships, I think we always could come back to that, no matter the pressure of how big or needing to put action within each episode. We knew we could come home to the moments between our characters. And I think that was sort of the true strength of the series in general. And that's what people are sort of taking away with them now that the show is over. It's those little moments between everyone. And I do think that's the strength of this episode as well. It's seeing the fallout, again, like I said, on a smaller, intimate level.
There's so
Did you
much
guys-
in this episode.
This is the fight hallway.
This is the big, remember,
Oh, this
The hallway. We just entered the hallway, but you spent more time than any hallway you've ever spent time.
when I counted up the amount of footage, if you count up the footage of all of the different cameras and how much we were recording, it was actually over 24 hours of footage for this particular thing.
For the fight
You know,
later.
if you were to count per camera, per how long we were rolling, all of it, it was
Oh my
nuts.
God.
But yeah, I never wanted to see that
that's
hallway.
the Downtown Gary Brown special, right? Or like that
That was the-
that
that
sequence.
day,
Yeah, that sequence.
It's funny, like whenever the fight choreographers come up to you and are really excited about that episode, you know that you're in for some work.
Yeah, they're like, "Are you pumped?" And you're like, "No."
Yeah, because you're always asking about the next episode, and there's very few people on set who've seen it. And when the fight choreographers come along and they're like, "Yeah, we've seen," "Oh, buddy, can't wait." You're like, "Okay,
Yeah.
a lot of fighty happening." Okay.
There's so many moving parts too with, I mean, how many just actors that are in this episode, and then everybody's a suspect at some point. And I
Yeah,
mean, to be
that's so
fair, I
fun.
did very much work on this episode. I was just in one set with BJ, so you know what a great time for me. But
Oh,
in terms of how it's
BJ.
structured, I know.
But you guys had this is cool.
Simmons had a great moment in this ep too.
Yes.
The lying line. Do you remember that?
Which one? Which one?
Yes. I say I'm getting better at it.
Yes.
But I'm getting better at it.
Yeah.
But I'm getting better at it. But I'm getting better, you know?
I'm getting better at it.
Do I add cheese? Yeah, I'm getting better.
Have you had
Brett, how did have we had
I
BJ
was
on?
going to ask if you had BJ on your
Yes, we have.
Yeah.
That was so funny. We basically giggled for 3 hours and somehow it turned into a podcast.
I can only imagine. I can only imagine how much of the episode was actually watched. The first 5 seconds. You know, that reminds me.
Yeah. I'd forgotten quite how connected Trip and Ward were until I watched this episode earlier, and you know, with you both having Garrett as your SO, that gorgeous moment towards the end where it's just beautiful. Like Vince just really shot this so nicely, and it's all in slow-mo at the end, and then like Trip is like shouting and then you're looking, and there's just a nice, you know, because you and Triplet, played by BJ Britt, you have kind of an interesting journey together, because you know when he comes on the bus you guys are kind of like getting a fight, fisticuffs.
Yeah.
And then
I have a question for you, Brett. So like this is the first episode where you knew you were bad but had to act good. Did you feel very aware of trying to still be an agent without revealing anything? Because it's like you knew at this point, so it's like all these scenes leading up to, like, what were you?
Yes, it was very difficult. It was very difficult because I actually had to play against something.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, you're playing a game of spy or something, and you know that you're the spy and you're trying to act cool.
I'm so bad at that game.
And casual.
Like Mafia.
Yeah, Mafia, that's the one. That's the one. But
Did you know in the table read, Brett? Because we didn't have that last page, right? In the table read for this episode?
I think I knew in the table read. Is that right?
Because we didn't, right? Because we had red pages handed to us.
Yeah, I
don't. It was like redacted.
I think it was after the table read that we started the meeting with you.
Yes.
And then distributed the pages.
That's right, because there was already a turn with Garrett.
So that seemed
to be
the big
feel like we were
reveal
missing
first.
something, and then there's this little
Right. So you got told just how many days before did you told Brett that did you start shooting not knowing you were bad? Do you remember?
No, it was before, because we were shooting the previous episode. We all went out, or we went to the trailer moment was we drove out to
you guys.
I don't remember what location it was, but
it was on Paul's episode.
It might have been the horse track or something, but we went out and we all climbed into the trailer, and Brett knew.
Yeah.
So he just sat there kind of watching, kind of enjoying the moment.
Oh God. And then Ming and Chloe's reaction was priceless, I think.
Yeah, didn't they fall to the floor?
Yeah.
They were just like,
oh.
I mean, I don't know, this is a PG podcast.
It's pretty bad.
PG podcast. There were a lot of F-bombs that were dropped and between Chloe and Ming.
Well, Chloe's like,
why you
I kissed you. And then Ming said, I slept with you.
But she didn't say slept.
She said the other word.
This scene breaks my heart. Because is this genuine? Do you feel like this is genuine love for Sky?
I think
that was the key to the thing, was that the confusion for him was that he had started to care for these people.
Which you really see at the very, very end of the episode with his head hanging down in the plane.
Yeah, it's like
I think he's very clear.
Like, I'm not going to process this. I'm good. But inside he's going, okay.
This one was not difficult to do because I didn't question the relationship with Scott. The other ones where I'm in front of the other agents and trying to be.
I feel like it's especially at the end when you're asking Saffron for permission, those moments like where you're going in and like having to be just a guy, like.
Yes.
It was an interesting. It was
Look at that
definitely an
cutie.
interesting.
Look how it's just a baby face.
You guys want to know what's
Yeah.
crazy? Is my daughter started rewatching. I mean, she saw this when they first came out, but she was 1. Because we finished the pilot before her first birthday. Yeah, we finished on Valentine's Day, and then a few days later she turns 1.
Wow.
Now she's rewatching it as an almost 9-year-old, and she's on episode 10. And I'm going to film her reaction to where she's at episode 7. It's so crazy, but she's like rewatching this entire thing.
Wow.
I swear I'm not forcing her to watch this, by the way. Like, you only watch dad televisions that include TV shows that include dad.
You watch this and view a commercial.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's it.
Drive
This
a
fight scene is
And she loves it. It's so
awesome.
weird. It's either this or no TV, but for whatever reason, she
We pulled the
This is
wall
just-
so we could get that side-scrolling stuff. Remember?
Oh yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah,
Always
all
fun.
the
GoPro shots too.
Crew we had, like,
Yeah.
so good. And
I
you're the
remember-
action hero. You're like
I
the
remember this
goodie. You're
moment,
taking
too.
out the bad guys.
Yeah, because we had to grab that afterward. We did a whole day of shooting, and then we had to grab that one.
Yeah.
yeah.
Because we didn't have the moment of there's my way out. That was the idea was he sees a knife and is completely confident that he's going to get out of this situation.
We
It's
don't
also-
need to shoot that.
Anytime you team me up with Downtown Gary Brown, we're the one more take kings. So you get both of us in the same room. And I'm
Yeah,
sure,
Oh God, between the two of you, we never
Oh,
stopped shooting.
come on, you never would have. This is supposed to be a 2-hour shoot. It's 4 hours
I
now.
remember, yes.
These jet engines that are set deck in here made an appearance in season 5.
It's really nice to watch
Oh.
back too.
I know.
Were they the same ones too on the ship in season 6 when we like the Puffies episode with Jesse Bochco, when we went on the ship with Izell and
Oh,
They aren't in there.
the
They were
Puffies?
they were in the Remarath. I don't remember exactly where it was.
Were they even called Ramaranth? I don't
Yeah.
remember.
We upcycled them anyway. It's very eco.
Yes, very eco.
Brett, you mentioned before a little bit about Twitter and you getting some tough comments on there, and you went from being this kind of all-American action hero to being the baddie. I feel like, how did you, because a lot of people can get hateful comments on Twitter or like cyberbullying and things like that. How did you process that? It's a very public thing. What was that like for you?
That's a very interesting question. Because it's not like I got hate mail or anything, but I think that initially I was not used to any of those comments whatsoever, because action star kind of saving the day, doing all of that stuff, and now all of a sudden people have felt like I personally betrayed them because they had been with this character for however many episodes, 16 episodes, and now they love this team, and I've poisoned the well of this agency, and how could I do that? But I think it took like 2 or 3 weeks and probably some conversations with Mo and Chad about like what that means. Like, it wasn't hate like we don't like you, Brett. We were just so invested in the character and the story. And so it's actually engagement with the story, and that's a good thing. And like, I had to sort of adopt a new like relationship with those comments. Before, it sort of was like, why don't they love me? But now, but then after a while, after a couple of weeks, I started to realize, oh, that's a good thing. That means they're engaged in the show. That means that they like that character. They don't like that character, and somebody has to play that role. And then so I started to embrace that. You watch wrestling, there's always a heel in wrestling. There's always somebody who comes in and has to kind of enjoy being the bad guy. And so when I learned how to make that shift, but it was an internal shift. And once I did that,
You
I
also
was able to take it.
were paired with a pretty good a person who enjoyed. I'm just watching Paxton. I
After
remember
his
this
review.
You're
scene.
absolutely right.
He
you're
was like, "You got gold, my friend."
Yes. Yes.
You know.
You're 100% right. Yeah, because people on set were like, I don't know who you are anymore. That was a scary take. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Ah,
This
And-
scene was a big moment for us as just in our career. Just to have
Bill
Paxton just with a page of dialogue and watching him do take after take and just looking at each
And
other
when
like,
he would riff too, it felt like I was witnessing moments that I had seen in movies with him in before. It was such a wonderful experience. We're so fortunate to have him on the show.
yeah, it's heartbreaking to watch us.
just the
I just
best.
also how he plays this, he's just so in his element, you know.
Yeah. And he, like you say, Brett, he does enjoy it. He's relishing every word. Did Bill know from the start that he was a double agent?
I think he knew. I don't think he knew from the start. Maybe I don't remember. We knew that we were.
I was trying to how did we convince him to do the show? And was that one of the selling points? I don't quite remember.
He was so
I
awesome.
have to.
Do you remember how he came in? He was like trying to make the deal work or whatever, and then he called. He was driving down from Ojai. He's like, I'm on the road. He's like, we have the deal has to close. He's like, let's get into costume. You know, let's shooting next week. You know, he's like.
Do you remember his first pitch was like, and Ann Foley will remember this, just turtlenecks. She's like, I think this guy wears turtlenecks. And of course, that's when he rocked the whole
And he was
time.
right. It's iconic.
Perfect.
Ian also in this moment.
Oh, that's
So
tear.
scared, yeah.
Look at little baby Ian right there.
I know. It's so gorgeous to see this and then remember from season 7 and all the seasons, but just to see the growth of the characters. And what I loved in this scene was he does help and save the day, but it is completely by accident. He doesn't just all of a sudden become this amazing fighting machine in the moment he's meant to. His role isn't this, and you can tell that he's completely out of his element. It's just nice that
Terrified. He's terrified.
terrified. Oh, Ian.
Yeah, I think one of the things that softened the blow of being away from the cast after this as well, it's like, yeah, but I get to hang out with Paxton all day.
So
Oh God.
It was amazing.
That was the other thing, is that from this point, then we hardly would get scenes with you.
Yeah.
You'd pair up eventually, you know, only in really dire moments. I remember Paxton. This is just an example of how he talked and how he thought. I think it was in the next episode, but he was talking. It's like the scene, like, I don't really understand what I'm doing here with this scene with Ward. And I was like, well, you're trying to explain to him that the goal was not to infiltrate them emotionally. You know, I had this long-winded thing about, you know, what you're trying to say is you need to keep things compartmentalized. And he goes, oh, so it's don't name the cow. And I'm like, huh? He's like, yes, don't name the cow before you eat it. I'm like, yeah, that's what the scene is.
He had so many of those, right?
Yeah.
Brett? So many
Yeah.
amazing sayings.
And they became part of the lore of the set. There was a number of things. I think I mentioned this in the last one that made it as part of one of the war cries before our like action sequences. Put some hair on the walls. And he's like, I don't know, man. I just picked it up. I was doing this other thing. And one of the other fight choreographers said that. And I was like, I don't know what that means, but it just makes sense.
Yeah.
Great. And that became part of it.
Oh, this is great.
So
here.
great. Oh, this is it. I mean, anything in slow gets me, but this scene is.
I didn't know he was shooting. I thought we were still in rehearsrsal.
Oh,
He was so far away.
Oh,
And
that's
we were
so
doing the
fun.
thing. I was feeling it, but I didn't even know that he was shooting. And then he said, cut, we're moving on.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sometimes those are your best performances, Brett, you know.
Exactly. No, truly.
Like,
Truly.
what was it?
What? Moving? Cool. What's that?
Oh, this is so great. I love it.
You guys were so smart with how you did this, because it was that you watched it and you went, oh, it's Garrett, that's it. Oh, it wasn't May. Oh, good.
Yeah.
It wasn't our team, thank God.
And you still like them. You're still like, oh no,
I
you know,
know.
and Colson's heartbroken.
Yeah.
This, I think, coming up was the hardest one for you, Brett, in my memory.
talking to Hand after.
Because you had to go up and you're requesting something that's very specific. And I remember you just being like, trying to stay out of your head about it because you're like, I'm just going to go up and do the thing. I just got to ask the thing like the guy and not overplay brokenhearted, but not overplay.
Yes.
I remember being like,
mustache either. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a tough thing. How do you approach a scene like that, Brett, where you feel like there's quite a lot hanging on each line? Do you just do the head down, throw it away situation? Or
Not well. I don't think I
yet?
did it well. I think that I'm glad I didn't have more scenes to do that with. Maybe I would have developed something, but it was really tough. It was really tough to balance that because you can't unknow that
Yeah.
once you've been told. And that's kind of what I felt like constantly. Am I showing my cards too much? Am I not showing them enough? And now a robot. What's happening?
It's also hard because go on, Jen.
No, just if you had to play it card down for much longer, it would have been taxing.
Yeah.
But
it's
that's
also when
good.
it's also in the context of the movie, this epic movie that we all have watched or we've got to see a bit at this point, I feel like, right? And then we knew that the audience watching S.H.I.E.L.D. this week had just seen this epic movie that you kind of it makes sense as an actor to come in with more of a gravitas to it, and I think you nailed it in that scene because you just looked so angry and seething.
Yeah.
Oh,
That look back was good too. I think you guys wrote that in
with
All
Clark's
this
look back.
with Coulson. The look back with Coulson.
Oh yeah.
It says so
That's
much.
One of the things that's great about Clark as Coulson, just he has that people reacting to him. You get so much mileage out of that. Like, I mean, we did it with Daisy forever, just like one look from him, and it's like that father figure thing that just carries so much weight. You can feel it in that Holloway moment. Is he's wondering how damaged is he? He's like thinking, looking at Ward, going, how bad is this for him? I'm wondering if he's going to hold it together. We already know he's dangerous,
Oh, here it comes.
So good. And this is such a tight set as well. It's so
tight.
You could
and
hear
loud. Remember that floor? It was a
loud.
grid.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Remember Saffron was in
Noisy
kitten
grid.
heels. Noisy grid on the floor. So
Yeah, she had little heels.
that would fall.
yeah, it's so hard to move.
Look at him. Look at Paxton.
Oh, so
Milking it.
good. Oh,
He taught me so much. My God, just watching him, you would learn so much. But man,
But this thing, the idea that the proposition seems to be, we don't necessarily have to deliver it to him. So she kind of enables it, this moment for him.
yeah.
Because if she hadn't said this, if she hadn't said, maybe we just take him out right now, then maybe he wouldn't have felt like he had to do this.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. You are so. I mean, I would have just had no idea as a fan watching this. Oh.
Well, and the fact that he waits
it
till
doesn't
she's
look
down
right.
and unloads again.
Yeah, and it's so kind of callous.
Oh God.
Well, he just turns into Terminator.
Then he just smiles.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Oh my gosh, so good.
Look at that face. It's like, where did he go? Just for the audience to get the reveal and see no remnant of who you.
and you guys went to Hydra. That's the first time you ever did that.
Yeah.
Too.
Yes, and it's Paxton saying it.
But here is where you can tell he's spinning, or you're
Or
like,
not.
is he spinning, or has he been this ice cold monster the whole?
And Paxton is monologuing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was all improv, right? That was just Paxton just.
Yeah, I think
We
we patched
gave him
it
like
together from
But we gave him a
others.
little seed, and then he riffed, and then we kind of.
And this was Vince's idea.
Breaking the fourth wall. That was
Yeah.
Vince.
Well, because we had one of the things that was hard was that we didn't want to have a tag on this episode. We were like, we didn't want to have a tag. We're like, that's the end. You can't. There's nothing more you can have. But we had to have a tag. It's just the thing that has to happen. But like, why would you end? You just saw that happen. You don't want more. So we didn't want to leave with a different thing. So we went back to it's like it was like we were stuck with that concept. How do we make that work? So we're like, what if we just hear how Paxton's not, Garrett's just, well, all right, buddy, well, blah, 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 like doesn't even care.
So interesting. Yeah, because usually the tag is a little taster of the next
We
episode
were
or
like,
something different.
We can't move to something else. We can't go to something else. So
yeah.
And then we were trying how to make it great. And Vince was the one that was like, what if he looks right at Lens? Or like, because then it makes the audience go, yes, that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
You guys remember the guy who was
the whole time,
the cameraman who was doing that, and how difficult that's the single take. He had it on the gimbal, and he was sweating by the end.
Yeah, because it was like so slow and steady. And
Right.
Yeah.
He's like, how long? 30 seconds? Really?
Yeah.
30 seconds? Wow.
Oh, well, that was
was a
so
day.
good, Brett. It's so good. Just that turn and you're right, Mo. It's
It's so scary.
behind the eyes. Yeah.
And then to
You're
have
wrong.
like the leftover cuts
Yeah.
on your face.
Yeah.
That might have been
Doing this
one of my favorite moments on any set. That changed everything. And I knew that nothing would ever be the same, and that I was in another whole territory with, everything really. It was truly, I'm thinking about it now, not like, oh, what a great my performance. I'm just thinking what that meant in the context of the show.
Yeah.
Huge.
Huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah.
And not only that, but I remember when we were talking in the room, we're like, and then it just, the next episodes are going to be so hard, like just in terms of, okay, how long do we hold this? How long does he play it? How long do they not know? All that was so fun. It was like, it just gave us life. It was like, everything had more meaning, if you think about the just how it led to the Fitzsimmons stuff at the end, all of it was the betrayal just made it juicy and more fun to write and more dangerous.
And the episode where you're kind of like hiding from him in the playground, that's what it was called.
With Koenig and the thing and the message and the
Sky.
You're trying to like rekindle it with Sky, and you're like, I'm not a good person and all that stuff, and then.
Oh, and that's the fun. That must have been interesting for the audience to, once they see this reveal, to go backwards and try and pick any sort of morsel that could have led them to,
Well, for a while, the audience knew something that the characters on screen didn't for many episodes, actually.
Yeah.
So I always remember it was cool because sometimes you would leave the camera there, they would leave, and so you'd see how I was reacting with that character in front of them, and then they would leave, and then you'd get this whole completely other shift that happened afterward.
Did Vince direct like another one a couple later, or?
I think so. Vince did a lot first.
A lot, yeah.
I just remember one of the things that we talked about a lot in prepping those episodes was just leaving you alone or blocking things where people's back are to you or your back is to them, so that we can have privileged moments. So there's a lot you'll see in a lot of those coming up episodes, you like turning away. So you're turning to camera so that we're getting secret stuff,
It's so cool, secret stuff. I'm gonna invite a couple people in to ask some questions. I'm like a bit starstruck by you now, Brett. That was just so good. Okay.
Well, you're very kind.
You're like Dawn right now. You're just like,
I know.
We should end this now before it goes any further. We should end this now. Elizabeth is impressed. It's amazing.
I just invited someone in. I think it accidentally kicked them out. So sorry if you got kicked out. I'm just going to keep inviting people in and just see if someone comes in.
That's still, I mean, however many years, later, I still hear from people who are like, I can't believe you did that. They're talking about something that happened in season 1. And they're still that viscerally upset about it.
Do we know what the air date was?
Oh my gosh. Hi.
Hello. Hi, Gina. Hi, Eric. Do you guys have questions?
Yeah,
How are
crazy.
you?
I guess I'll go first. Is that okay?
Go for it.
I really wanted to ask Mo about 604, Code Yellow, filming with Jeff. I watched it last night and it was really funny. So can you tell me more about that?
Oh, more about that? How I just like lucked out and got this role?
Well,
the
we
role of a
heard
lifetime?
about this promising young thing.
No, it was really fun. I think that's an episode where we brought Deke back into the fold. He had been absent for the first 4 episodes of season 6, and so we knew that this would be his, sort of.
The true story is that
Yeah, go ahead. You tell it.
we had the character. We were like, what if Deke? You're just riffing on Deke. What if he was the worst guy, and what if he had the worst girlfriend? And so the Zuckermans were pitching this character, and then I was telling Maurissa about it later that day, and she goes, "Oh, so you mean someone who's sort of like," and she started just doing it, and I was sort of like, "Oh, I guess that's the character," and so she sort of just started pitching lines in the character, and you're like, maybe we'll just have you do it.
It totally works, and that boba was super fancy. I was really jealous.
Oh, well, that's all our art department and our set deck, like, making those props. I mean, just making amazing.
Did it taste good, or was it not real?
No, the one that I had was real, but then there were some embellishments around. Yeah.
Actually, I wanted to show you guys the hoodie I'm wearing.
Sure.
It says once an agent, always an agent. Sorry, it's backwards. I wear this every time I watch along because I really wanted to show you guys.
And that was Jed. You came up with that.
Oh, I don't know.
Once an agent, always an agent.
Yeah, I actually just started watching the show this year before season 7 started, and I just got really into it. I got like so obsessed. It was insane. So then I just ended up buying this.
Oh, I love it. Thank you. What a great question. How was that, Mo, to then all of a sudden act in it? I mean, we all know that you're an amazing performer, but going from showrunner to then being on the other side.
It was just so much fun to play with you guys in that way, as opposed to, being boss lady. So I feel like I really leaned. But
still, you were still a little boss lady.
Well, I feel like I did sort of lean into just like relinquishing.
You're like,
I was like,
I'm an actress this week.
Tell me where to stand. Tell me what to say. Is my hair?
Isn't it great? Yeah, it's so good.
That's not. I am not at all.
Can I get you anything? You're like, yes.
I'm not at all being reductive as to what like the enormity of you guys bring to the table every day.
But because I remember you coming home and being like, this is so easy.
Why do we pay them so much?
Yeah.
I made a poor career choice. Yes. No, but it was so much fun, especially because you guys are, we're family at that point, and just to play. She
just wished she was in the scenes with everybody.
Yeah, instead of just Jeff.
I know. Jeff was nervous too. He was like, I need to know my lines. I need to be on it. This is Maurissa.
Really?
Totally on it. Yes. You can't be messing around, Jeff.
No, he's with the queen.
Yeah.
But
that
he
was such a great question.
He was still going
still
off.
Didn't know his lines.
And like pitching directly to me. He's like, do you think that I could do that here?
You're like, no.
Or I could do, what's option A or B? So let me show you A.
Oh, Jeff. Thank you so much for your question. And I love your hoodie, and feel free to hang out. Eric, how are you?
Hi.
What's going on?
I'm so excited. Thanks, guys. You have been such an inspiration to me. You made my life much better over all my 20s watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Actually, you, Lil, are such an inspiration to me. I keep saving my Instagram post, the one you made about the history in 2011 moving to LA, and that you signed up to the IMDb Pro. This one, I keep saying it because it's such an inspiration for me to follow my, like a career on production, TV production, something that I want to do in my life. But thank you guys, you, and also the work that Zach and Lil does for all the fandom is quite amazing.
Oh, thank you, Eric. You're awesome.
Greetings from Costa Rica.
Oh, Costa Rica.
Awesome.
I hope we can come visit soon.
I'll get to work on that.
Yes, come on, Zach. Plan as a trip.
Eric, I still am inspired by Lil myself, so I think that you chose someone very, very good to be inspired by. And I'm glad that she's sharing all of her stories as well, because it's kind of like that for everyone, I think, starting out. It's really not fun sometimes, and you're wondering, why am I doing this? and what do I have to show for it? But yeah, I think a lot of times people don't share that. And so you see it from the outside and you see, oh, just success, success, success. And then you can graph it and it's like that. But the real thing, if you were to graph it, is like all over the place. So,
and it's a lot of this.
Doing that.
Yeah. This.
And it's like a lot of people from your family that it's like your major support, they don't understand it a lot. So it's kind of hard to be motivated by yourself, because it's not that they do not support you, but they normally don't understand what this industry is all about.
Yeah.
So when you release like a short movie or something, you want to show it to your family and they're like, oh, that was,
Yeah,
you're like,
totally.
okay, I did
I've
this and
been
this and
there.
this and this and this and this.
Yeah.
It's like,
they don't understand the work.
They don't
that goes
understand that
into
the
it.
fact that it's in focus is a miracle.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, when you're up there getting your Oscar, then they'll keep your feet on the ground. They'll stop you going full diva mode. That's their job.
and
Keep doing what
I
you
don't
do.
know, guys, if you have watched this WandaVision series that just released last Friday, but people are actually fandoming about that, the theory that Wanda and Vision are in some kind of framework. So they are telling that it's such an inspiration from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh, cool.
I read some theories about.
We'll see. We're watching along.
Yeah,
so.
we're watching as fans, so we don't know. We're excited to see what the.
No, I'm not asking like if you know, but I have reading some theories that people think that they are in some kind of framework inspired by S.H.I.E.L.D.
That would be
well,
really
there wasn't much that S.H.I.E.L.D. didn't do in the end. So I feel like any like Marvel movie at this point or TV show is probably going to do something that we already did.
right.
Thank you so much for chatting, Eric and Gina. It's
Thank
so
you.
lovely to meet both of you.
It was so great seeing you.
Thank you guys for
Yeah,
calling
you
in.
too.
Yeah.
Mo and Jed and Brett, thank you for being here.
You're
You guys
very
are just
welcome.
the best. This was such a huge episode, and to have you guys on here is just so amazing, and I'm still learning things about it. Brett, you
I'm
just
so
did
delighted.
such a great performance. It was really stunning. Really, it was such a joy to watch.
I had a
again.
very good team. I felt like I was in very good hands. This was a big thing that was asked of me, but it's not like they threw me in the deep end and said, good luck. They
wrote
were
you some
there
good
and
stuff.
they helped, really make this character along
You
with
look
me.
just
Felt like a
so
team effort.
cool. Yes.
You're-
Thank you, Zach.
I
as
love what
always.
you're doing, Lil. I think this is
Thank
amazing.
you, Will and Zach, for doing this
For
every
carrying the
week,
torch.
for keeping the
Yes.
show alive and providing all of this sort of an education and a love fest for the fans. It's really huge. You guys we love you guys for doing this.
Well,
We love you too.
for me, hearing from Gina and Eric and hearing that, that's what Lil and I had talked about a lot when we first started doing it. So like that means a lot to us, certainly, to go back through it. I often feel like I've like been folded into the S.H.I.E.L.D. fam, even though it's like all tangential. So it's really nice. I mean, everyone's always been so nice to me and supportive.
Boy,
But,
you've been there from the beginning. So
Yeah.
what are you talking
Yeah.
but
about?
it's been really cool interacting with people to see the impact that what you all were so vital and provided to everyone. So it's very cool to talk to everyone. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
so cool.
our pleasure.
And you don't buy jackets like this to hang in a closet.
know.
They got to be on Zoom every week. Come on.
Yeah, Gino.
Gina, where's your leopard jacket?
Got a rock leopard print. I actually have a leopard print face mask that I wear all the time. And I always think of you, Lil.
Perfect. Thank you. I love that. Right. I'm going to let in the 100 people. We'll wave and then we'll say goodbye. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being here. That was so fun. Oh my gosh. I almost hit end instead of admit all. Okay. Here we go.
Okay, here we go.
Oh,
Here comes the chaos.
How does this work? Oh yeah, you're sharing your screen now. Okay.
Hi, everyone.
Everybody.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi.
To get out of here.
Hi, Emily.
Awesome.
Get the bloopers.
Crazy backgrounds.
Love you.
Bye.
Love you.
you, Brett.
Oh,
Light it up. Brett, you're amazing. Thank you guys.
Bye.
Thanks for coming.
Bella.
Brett. Oh my gosh, I love it.
Hey.
Hi.
Hey.
More and then more in.
Bye.
Gosh, so
Oh, I see him. Come here.
it's you.
Lil.
Hi, Maurissa. Hi,
Hey, Nick.
Nice to see
Oh,
you.
Kevin.
Hi, Abby. Hi,
Nick.
Ella. Hi,
Oh,
Ashley.
Sarah.
Bye.
My God. Bye, Annabelle.
Bye.
You guys.
Bailey.
Hi.
Oh, Turtle.